Baal Teshuvas at the Mikvah by Yoshua November. Sometimes you see them in the dressing area of the ritual bath, young bearded men unbuttoning their white shirts, slipping out of their black trousers until standing entirely naked, they are betrayed by the tattoos of their past life. A ring of fire climbing up a leg, an eagle whose feathery wingspan spreads the width of the chest, or worse, the scripted name of a woman other than one's wife. Then, holding only a towel, they begin once more the walk past the others in the dressing room. The rabbi they will soon sit before in Talmud class, men with the last names of the first Hasidic families, almost everyone devout since birth. And with each step, they curse the poverty that keeps the dark ink etched in their skin, until finally they descend the stairs of the purifying water and beneath the translucent liquid appear once again like the next man, who in all his days has probably never made a sacrifice as endearing to God. For those of us reading outside of Orthodox Judaism, there are some unfamiliar words and allusions that might be hard to understand in this poem. A Baal Teshuvah is someone who was not raised Orthodox and who becomes Orthodox. So what is Orthodox? Orthodox is a particularly observant form of Judaism. It's one that takes the Bible and the Talmud very seriously as authoritative and inspired by God. It's a form of Judaism that emphasizes practice of faith. What is it to engage our faith in every single bit of our daily lives? Because everything we do matters to God and everything we do belongs to God somehow. And so these Baal Teshuvas are people who have repented of their worldly ways and committed their lives to following God with everything they do. And sometimes that even means giving up a job to do other sorts of work that's more in line with the values of the Pentateuch, more in line with the values of Torah. Sometimes that means attending yeshiva, even just like out of the kind of the charity of people who are willing to help pay for it. And sometimes even they're living off of the gifts that people give them as they study and as they try to invest their lives and their minds entirely in following God. It's not unlike a person who finds Jesus and quits their job and decides to go to seminary. There's something analogous there, not exactly the same, but something kind of analogous. A mikvah. A mikvah is a ritual bath. It's used for all sorts of things, not just conversion, but for ongoing purity rituals within Judaism. And it's a way of kind of, with one's body, enacting one's prayers. But here's the thing, when they enter the bath, as is alluded to in the opening lines, they would be dressed just like everyone else, a white shirt, black trousers, beards. But as they start to remove their clothing to enter the bath, their past is revealed. Notice the word betrayed by the tattoos. They can't hide. Betrayed by the tattoos of their past lives. And you have to understand that in Orthodox Judaism, tattoos are forbidden. Not just because they're forbidden in the Torah, but also because of the way tattoos function as like identifiers of one's loyalties. And one's loyalties belong only to God. And God is the formless, undefinable ground of all being. You can't have a picture of him. Not in that way. And the name of God is holy. You can't tattoo that on yourself. So insofar as tattoos are markers of identity and loyalty, you can't tattoo God onto yourself. You can't limit him or confine him or do that. So these tattoos betray these men because they speak of their past lives, of all the ways in which they were not the people God made them to be. They speak to all of their loyalties, and notice the tattoos that are listed: a ring of fire climbing up the leg, an eagle whose feathery wingspan spreads the width of the chest. Those are both like iconic types of tattoos. Notice they're given locations: the leg, the chest, and they're doing things. They are climbing or spreading, or worse, the scripted name of a woman other than one's wife. Notice this one's not given a location, nor are we told what it is doing. There's a sense in which the absence of locating language and a verb for this tattoo says much, much more about what it is actually doing. What is that old affair doing? Where is that located? Where are those deep and hidden loyalties of our pasts? What are they doing to us? What are they doing on us? And then they begin what can only be described as a sort of walk of shame. The rabbi, the teacher. Whew. How would you feel if your theology professor knew that secret about you? You know the one. We all have one. Or the campus pastor. And it's there for everyone to see. And the Hasidic families, almost everyone devout since birth, all the people who belong and who have always belonged and who have always gotten it right and always had it together, they see it too. Your secrets, your past, it's all out there for them. And with each step, they curse the poverty that keeps the dark ink etched in their skin, until finally they descend the stairs of the purifying water, and beneath the translucent liquid appear once again like the next man. In the water, the translucent water, notice that juxtaposition between darkness and translucent. Translucent is something that light can penetrate. Somehow in the water there is a way for the light to get in, and they get to appear like the next man. I love the closing two lines. Who, the next man, who in all his days has probably never made a sacrifice as endearing to God. The sacrifice of being exposed, the sacrifice of having your secrets known, the sacrifice of not being able to hide all the things you might want to hide about who you've been and what you've done, about the loyalties and the traumas that have played across your body and across your mind. And yet there's something in this act, in this exposure, that is a mark of repentance, a desire for forgiveness. It's something in that sacrifice, that giving of themselves, even with their pasts, even with their tattoos, even with all of the things that have marked them. It's giving all of that over to God that is endearing. What a lovely word, endearing. It's so tender, so kind. I'm reminded of Jesus saying that there is so much joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous. Or of the psalmist who says, "A broken spirit and a contrite heart you will not despise, O Lord." And so for you, what are the sacrifices that you make? In what ways might you sacrifice yourself and give yourself over to God in repentance and for this sort of renewal? And when you do that sort of thing, can you imagine that that sacrifice is actually endearing to God? Maybe try it.